1.
So today we have Ryan Vaughan from KAIT in Jonesboro, Arkansas, the ABC and NBC affiliate down there. Today we've got Jackson from DFW, Justin and Andrew will be joining shortly. So Ryan, just kind of tell us about yourself, how you got interested in weather.
Well, kind of like anytime you talk to someone that's in meteorology, they were either scared to death of storms when they were growing up, or they were just ate up with them. And I was kind of the one that was just ate up with it. Nothing scared me with the weather. I loved thunderstorms, snowstorms, stayed up late, and just knew from a very young age that I wanted to do something with weather. I knew when I was a kid I wanted to do broadcasting, and then as I got older, I didn't really want to do broadcasting. And then when I got into college, I started going back into broadcasting. And here I am. Once I got into television, I just really enjoyed it, and have been with it now for I guess 21 years.
Wow, 21 years. So I think Andrew had a couple points, just kind of about as far as coverage goes, and stuff like that. So have you been at any other past television stations?
Well, early on, right after college, there used to be a little independent affiliate, so no affiliate, independent station in Hopkinsville, Kentucky called WKAG. At the time, I worked for the Federal Aviation Administration doing weather obs out of Bowling Green, and they needed a weekend meteorologist over at WKAG. So I would work at the airport during the week, and then go over to WKAG and do weekends over there. I don't even remember what it got paid. I think it was, whatever the minimum was then, it was that or lower. But I did work there for a few months, and then came to KAIT here in Jonesboro. I transferred briefly down to Montgomery, Alabama for about 2.5 years within the company. So went down to Montgomery, Alabama at WSFA, which is a spectacular station in South Alabama. And I got my fair share of hurricane season. I was down there for Ivan, which was the worst for us, and Katrina, and so our family was down there for kind of the active, most active part of hurricane season, I guess, or most active hurricane season that I've had. And then they called me back at KIT and asked me if I wanted to come back, and I hopped all over it.
Well then, so what is the biggest severe weather event that you think that you have covered?
There's several ways of how do you measure that? Do you measure that off the weather alone, just the meteorology of it? Do you measure it off of deaths? Do you measure it off of long-lasting impacts? So, or just off of how do I put this? More or less, just how visual it was. It seems like right now what ranks at the top is the Jonesboro Tornado back on March 28th of 2020. That was, we caught it from the beginning of it all the way through Jonesboro, and the entire thing was on a weather cam, and we were new to this whole COVID thing. I had been sent home 2 days prior to that to kind of separate the team. We knew we had severe weather coming in, and I'd covered that tornado from right here in my home office. That one is probably the most visual one that people would, I guess, is at the front of people's mind right now. And there it is right there. So I'm home. Zach is at the station in front of the chroma key wall. And this storm had put down a tornado, which we later learned was an EF2 in Jackson County. And so we knew that this storm meant business. And if I'm sure it's all over YouTube somewhere on how this all unfolded. But briefly, the tornado warning was dropped. So it came for Woodruff County. We stayed with it wall to wall, put down the tornado in Jackson County. We had verification from chasers there. And then we just kind of stayed with it. So me and Zach and Aaron Castleberry, who was back in the storm center, we stayed with it. Tornado warning was reissued. And we're fortunate that we have several weather cameras to watch storms as they're coming in. And we watched this tornado develop right in some of those populated part of Jonesboro. And it was devastating. As you can see there, that was a car repair shop there on the left and one of the dry cleaners. It went across, in fact, the largest dry cleaners in town. It went across the street there and hit a gateway tire. And you go back and look at the video of Zach standing in front of the chroma key wall. There was actually steel I-beams lofted into the air from that gateway tire. So we were just sitting here watching it all unfold. And we've had storms. We've covered tornadoes before on weather cameras, but this one was large. It was violent. It was going right through the middle of town. And quite honestly, we thought people were dying right there on live television. I was broadcasting here until we started losing power and internet. And so at the time, I was using my phone for my camera, streaming back using live view. And as I was losing some of my electricity and my data and things here, I ended up just taking this and putting it on my dashboard of my expedition, and I just took off. And so the tornado was kind of south of me, and it was kind of passing south of my house and then would end up to the east. But you can see, I'm not sure if you can rewind a little bit more to watch it actually touch down. There it is. So we're watching it, and we're watching it behind the scenes also on radar, and it just looked like at any moment it would put a tornado down. Keep in mind, we had already seen pictures of it putting down of the EF2 tornado down in Jackson County. So it forms right there on Interstate 555, and it doesn't take long before it becomes a massive tornado. We started losing some of the camera images also. We'd go to another camera as it was passing to the east of town, and that was kind of when it was going over the residential area. And that was really when I started feeling like, okay, this is going to have mass casualty. I ended up driving south of town and then going to the damage path. And I can vividly remember setting up where the damage was, and they were setting up what they thought was going to be a mass casualty area there at the mall that had gotten hit. And I remember somebody saying, I think we can put 200 people here. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I still really don't know what that meant. I didn't know if that meant 200 volunteers, 200 bodies, 200 injuries, 200 doctors. Don't know. They just said 200 people. But I remember hearing that out of the side of my ear and thinking, man, we're going to have some big time issues. Nobody died in this. If you watch this tornado, look at all the cars that are on the highway, which if it had not been for COVID, a lot more people would have been out there. This hit a Cheddar's at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. If you've ever been to Cheddar's at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, there's a 45-minute wait, and people are outside, and it's packed inside. Well, it was closed because of COVID. There was they were doing carry out only, so you had the workers in there taking cover in the freezer. It was completely demolished. Right there, it's hitting the mall, so the main mall in town. It is hitting, and then it hits the airport. We lost our weather instrumentation for Jonesboro for a few months. But you can see power flashes, and then as it continues moving on, this is when it starts hitting residential areas. And it hit a lot of houses. But thankfully, the messaging was there. People knew we were expecting bad weather. A lot of people had their televisions on and was keeping up to date with the weather. And we did not run into anybody that was caught off guard by this. So everybody had done their part by taking cover, and we had a lot of property damage, and we had some injuries, but nothing that was life threatening, and we had no loss of life.
Wow.
Now, here's that other camera angle. So right now it's hitting what we would call the Prospect Road area. So it's going through some residential area right now, and it's, as you can see there, you can just, that's not a weird camera angle or anything like that. It was a very large tornado.
Man.
So that's the probably the one that sticks out. But we've had other storms also. The Super Tuesday tornado that was on the ground for 120 miles, killed 13 people, I believe, 12 or 13 people in Arkansas. Um, that was a really bad one. It was an EF4, I believe, then, and that Jonesboro one was the EF3. And I think back to the Super Tuesday one. I think back to there's a town called Marmaduke that has been hit twice, and actually I think if you go way back, it's probably been hit 3 times. I think, but back in '06, I believe, that was kind of my first big tornado that came through. Everyone in Marmaduke survived that one, but it did take the life of someone in the Boot Hill of Missouri. That one sticks out to me also. So there's been numerous tornadoes, but probably at the front of my mind right now is probably this Jonesboro one.
Hmm.
Now, there's our mall. That was earlier that afternoon. I had just driven by the Best Buy there. That's the back of Dillard's there, but the Best Buy, they were just because of COVID, they had workers sitting out front under a tent. And we were all still new to this whole COVID thing, and I can remember thinking, I wonder what they're doing over there. My wife and I were talking. I said, I bet you drive up and you tell them what you want, and they run in there and they get it for you, which now everybody does curbside. But we remember thinking that, and then when the mall got hit, I thought of those people, and they're just sitting out front in the tent. I later talked to them, and they said that they got the warning, and they ran into the store and went back to the back and took shelter. And you can see in the background there, that's the Barnes and Noble behind the mayor. They were also taking cover there also, and they were also doing kind of that newly made curbside where they had the employees there, but they didn't have customers there, and they ran back and took cover also.
All right.
Well,
Man.
here's an interesting picture that the manager of the mall gave me. This right here. This right here is a picture of the tornado before it hit the mall, taken from the security camera on top of the mall, and that security camera recorded it, saved it to the cloud, and then was hit. So that camera that took that video there, that picture, got hit by the tornado.
Golly.
Yeah. It was a rough night, but you look back on it, and nobody died. So within a day or so, we were just kind of like, "Whew!" Nobody died, and we can rebuild, and we have rebuilt a lot of it. The mall still has the mall is in 2 pieces. It's got Dillard's over here, and then some walls and some space, and then the rest of it now. So you have a path right where the tornado went.
Just making sure you can't hear anything.
Yeah, I was gonna,
Okay.
um, you know, looking back on the date, if this wasn't for COVID, this could have been a way, you know, more significant event.
Definitely hitting the mall, hitting restaurants. It went right south of like Chick-fil-A. Some of these places that would typically just be packed on Saturday night, and everybody was kind of at home, still not really knowing what you're supposed to do during COVID. I think we only had like 3 cases or something, but at the time, we're like, okay, is 3 a lot or is it not? There's some pictures right there of some of the cars that were overturned. That was kind of the first thing I saw is all the overturned cars in Academy, and we did see some injured people then. As I said, I left here and went straight down to where the damage was. And you can see me there. And you just had people walking around in a daze. I mean, people that were like in that truck there, just walking around in a daze, like, what just happened? I mean, look at that car. some of these cars were just that were just blown off the road. Were just mangled. It was wild to see.
Yeah.
Man,
It was a crazy. Andrew, do you have any questions? If he's
Um,
Andrew?
there, you go.
I'm here. I'm here.
Go
There
ahead.
you go.
Let me see. So we know you covered December 10th and 11th. What was covering that event like?
You know, we kind of went into that one also knowing that we were going to have a pretty rough night. Um, and this one, that December 10th is going to go down, is, in my opinion, worse than the Jonesboro one. And that's what I was kind of saying about how do you measure this? Because December 10th, we lost some people in that tornado. Um, Knew leading into that day that we were going to um, have long track tornadoes. In fact, I had spoken to to a civic organization at lunchtime that day, and typically I just kind of do a typical weather presentation, but instead did something a little bit different. So I had this large group of people there, and I just kind of stepped them through with why we were so worried about severe weather that night. And so we knew going in, the messaging was there, everybody was prepared, um, and as this storm was coming in, we were getting a lot of reports on social media and from chasers. The long track tornado, which did pull up a couple times in Tennessee, started here in Region 8. It actually started as two tornadoes. We had a picture out of Bay of two tornadoes, and still some question marks on which one ended up being the main tornado. But regardless, right over Lake City, it started strengthening pretty considerably. We could see it on radar. And Lake City is just to the west of Monette. And you may have heard Monette was, which you can see that kind of behind me there, was the place that had the nursing home. So it hit a nursing home, then hit a neighborhood there beside there, and that was our first fatality, which was at that nursing home. I believe it was a 94-year-old man. Don't hold me to that, but I think it was a 94-year-old man. I surveyed the damage the next day, and the rooms that were on the edge of it were the ones where the walls had collapsed in. And their staff had done a great job doing the best they can. It's really hard to get a group of people that can't move around too well anyways to be in all of their safest locations. And so Monette was hit, and then it went to the next town and hit Leachville. That is where we had the Dollar General hit. They also took cover, but they're in a Dollar General. They didn't get below ground, but they did get into the middle, and they hunkered down. And tornado hit, moved all the freezers, and kind of crushed everybody into the middle on that. Just a devastating thing. It then crossed over, hit a cotton gin. The cotton gin there, Adams Gin, had done a really good job getting all their workers out before the tornado hit. Brought them over to the building beside them that had an underground place to take cover, and then that cotton gin was hit. You can imagine, just bales and bales and bales and bales of cotton hit by tornado.
Yeah,
So much so that the highway had to be cleared off with a front loader to get the cotton out of there.
yeah. I went up there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, pretty much went up the whole path, and it was. That cotton. We thought it was snow.
Yeah. People don't know how much cotton is. Also, that cotton gin took about $15 million of damage.
Goodness.
Yeah, and that what you're looking at right there is going to be the nursing home, I believe.
Yep,
Yeah.
I have video. I'm not sure where I put my video camera, but I got video of it.
Yeah. Another lady at the nursing home was injured pretty bad. Went to the hospital for a little bit and ended up, as she was trying to recover from the tornado, got an infection from her injuries and ended up dying also. A lot of people don't know that, but there was actually another fatality from the nursing home from her injuries. Ended up being an infection. But that night also, we had the tornado. We had another tornado form south of there, also hit a nursing home. That was down in Truman. So we're getting reports of this tornado touching down, and the first report I get is that it hit the nursing home in Truman. So can you imagine as covering this, and you're just like, yeah, what? Two nursing homes hit at the same time. It was very, very odd. That was the night also. So that would be the night. I was trying to see where this was in the coverage. If you fast forward to about probably 9 o'clock, I guess, or so, if you're watching, if that's the whole night, I'm not sure which one that is, but I take a phone call. I told about 6 or 7 people that if you call me on my phone, I'll know that you mean business. So the guy that's over Skywarn in Poinsett County, where that tornado warning is right there in Harrisburg, he called me, and I answered the phone on my watch because I knew he had something. And that's when he told us that the tornado was on the ground and that it had just hit the second nursing home of the night. So, yeah, so as you can see there, it had just hit. So go about 9:15 or so. You see the debris where it just hit Truman there on correlation coefficient. So it hit probably, yeah, here we go. It's somewhere around 9:14, 9:15. It's going to hit Truman. Don't really have a whole lot of signature right there, but here we go. Here it is. This is right when it touches down. You can see it's tightening up there right as it's crossing Interstate 555. It's actually touching down probably right about then. You see a couple of pixels there just southwest of Truman. There was a little bit of damage to the west of Interstate 555, but not a lot. Probably just wind damage there. And then here in just a minute, you're going to see me answer the phone on my watch. And we had to have someone sitting there watching it, eyes on the storm, telling me that it's on the ground before it actually even hit Truman. It was hitting the nursing home on the southwest side of town. So let's see here when this happens. It's just having spotters is just so invaluable. I mean, we're seeing something there on radar. Obviously, we're zooming in on it and checking it out. But at this point, here we go. So I see this phone call coming in from the guy that's over Skywarn. You see also the warning. If you notice, the polygon turns purple. Our polygons turn purple when they get labeled as a confirmed tornado. So if you notice, I put the watch to my microphone instead of going through all the trouble of getting him put on air through the switcher. So he lets me go. He gets off the phone because he has work to do. But this is when it's on the ground. It's about to go through right through that populated area. Then he calls me back, and as it's getting worse, then we get debris signature. Believe on the next radar scan, right when it hits all the houses in Truman.
I believe Truman was rated EF2.
Yeah, which really surprised a lot of people. I think some could make the argument, especially as if you look at the Camphil area, some could make an argument of EF3. Something we kind of ran into on the Truman storm is, especially, how would I explain? It's kind of where the M is on that map on Truman, kind of right around South Ozark. It was devastating. I'm saying homes completely destroyed and wiped off the property, but the construction of those homes probably wouldn't be able to take more than an EF2 anyways to do that. So you didn't have any damage indicators to know if it was anything stronger than an EF2. It might have been, but we didn't know because there wasn't enough substantial structures that you could rate an EF3 off of. Interesting thing about Camphil also, the business, the factory that was hit. So there's the velocity signature there, and here in just a second you'll see the debris signature also. But Camphil had been hit on March 28th, 2020 in Jonesboro, and they had relocated temporarily down to Truman, and then got hit by a tornado again. Before moving back to their new place in Jonesboro. So essentially they got hit by the Jonesboro tornado in March of 2020 and then got hit in 2021 in Truman.
Man.
Yeah. Thankfully, we had some injuries down in Truman, but had some wild stories also, but did not have fatalities there.
Golly. So your market area goes into the Missouri boot heel. Would that be correct?
Yeah, officially, those two counties, they're kind of overlapping counties. Officially, I believe one of them is Memphis and one of them is Cape Girardeau. But it's going to be one of those overlapping counties where they can watch all of us, especially in the day of digital now. We get a lot of viewers just off our app and things like that off of the boot heel, because some of the cable networks don't carry us. But they know that we're already covering severe weather down to the southwest, so I guess they tuned in earlier because we're already covering it. So, I mean, I do school visits up there and everything, so we still consider it our viewing area because many times our ratings, especially in Dunklin County over in Kennett, are higher than any of the other surrounding markets.
Yeah, I know sometimes y'all, back and forth. I'm here in Memphis, and y'all overlap with WMC,
Mm-hmm.
some of the Arkansas counties.
Yeah.
With those.
And there's times when I will say, especially if we're dealing with numerous tornadoes, there's times when I will say, in fact, we did that night when the storm was exiting out of the boot heel and going into Tennessee and Kentucky. We said, hey, you can watch Girardeau with Grant Dade tuned to there, because we started having our own problems down to the south. So it's good to have a station to the north that our company owns, like Cape Girardeau, and down in Memphis with WMC. So I can say, hey, we're going to start focusing on this storm. We're going to hand coverage off to Ron Childers down in Memphis. So that is good.
Yeah, y'all have all the gray stations all right in one area there.
Yeah.
Andrew, did you have I don't know if you had like a list made up of questions, or Justin, or other Jackson, or if anybody has any more questions for Ryan. It's kind of crazy to rewatch this footage. I had split screened in my room. I had WMC and then KAIT, and that was a long night there.
It was.
Yeah.
And I usually go out. So after this all went through, I usually try to go out and see the damage also. If not that night, then first thing in the morning. So about 24 hours past this, after all the adrenaline dumped out and everything, and you just kind of look back and see it, kind of take it all in. That was quite a busy time.
Yeah. I'm just kind of scanning through here. Andrew, do you have anything to add?
Not right now. I don't think. Justin, you got any questions?
Justin's mic, I don't think, is working.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Did he type anything in the chat?
No.
I was gonna ask Ryan just briefly. I remember watching that coverage back in March. I believe, yeah, with the Jonesboro tornado. With you being at home, kind of how was it? You being at home. I believe it was Zach and Aaron at the
Yeah,
studio.
Zach and Aaron. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
everything was going smooth at first, but once we started taking power hits, it just started going downhill. At first, I thought, okay, we're fine. I've got a laptop and the cell phone's got so I can keep my signal on the cell phone. What I didn't take into account was not having my router on an UPS system. But even then, we were losing internet anyway. So just losing all the technical side of it, things I take for granted when I'm at the television station, was rough. But then debris started falling in my backyard also. So when we were leaving, there's debris spread all over the place, falling from the sky. So it's kind of chaotic to kind of regroup and go from like, okay, we're covering the tornado here remotely. I'm only 2 days into working from home. To okay, now I'm going to go out and chase it. And then it's like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go cover damage. We were going back and forth on all that. So it was chaotic. I think if we had to do it all over again, then it would be easier because I do now have kind of a better setup than when what I had then. But I usually am trying to be in the studio now for all severe weather events now. But if there's an emergency, or we usually work 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then Zach has 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. The other day we had a tornado warning at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning, and so Zach had it. But I walked in here and I can power everything up and I can help him out, that kind of thing. So COVID has brought on some things that are pretty nice that typically I would have just either let Zach handle it on his own in the morning, or I would have gone 80 miles an hour into the station. That it's easier just to turn everything on, drive the radar for him while he covers it in the morning. I think we've got a nice little setup now for that.
Yeah, I think that's there's good. I think another meteorologist say the same thing. It's during events like that when you're not in studio, just power up, remotely connect to max, and there you are.
Yeah.
So I think I was gonna ask. Let me see if I had. Andrew.
Yes.
Let me see.
I pulled up some of the footage that I had from Leechville. So
There you go.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll switch out.
See if this works. I can't share it directly, so I guess I just have to share the screen.
And what tornado was this one right here?
This is the March 28th coverage.
Okay. All right.
Really sure which one that is.
That's
Jackson,
gonna be
Jackson, you can swap out.
Okay.
Share.
So it's the screen. There you go. So let me make sure I'm getting that. So here. So this is Leechville. Make sure it's quieter. So there's already minor damage in the northern part of town over here.
I'm not seeing it on this end.
You may have to.
Oh, you're not seeing it?
His window.
Is it not showing up?
You may have to click on his. I can.
I got it. I think I messed it up. Can you see it now?
No.
Hmm.
Y'all seeing it?
Uh,
And the rest of you guys see it? Maybe it's just on my end.
Bro.
That's really weird.
There we go. It may not be clicked. I don't know. It's
So
Oh, there
right
we
here.
go. I got it now.
Yeah. So is it now filling the whole screen?
Yeah, you've got to.
Oh yeah.
You see the houses here?
Yep, that's Leachville. There, right by the old downtown. Yep.
Yep,
And you're
this is
coming into town
downtown.
now. There's the cotton gin. You're coming up on it. See how the cotton is mound up on both sides of the road there?
Yep.
They had to come in with a front loader and clear that off. So all that cotton, $15 million worth of damage over there to the cotton. Then on the other side, that's the Dollar General where the young lady died.
And this
Now
was
that's
the.
going. What's that?
Say again?
I was just saying, right when it passed Leachville is probably when it got to its strongest point. It went on, and right when it was crossing the Missouri-Arkansas line, that's where it hit a row of trees, snapped them off about 15, 20 feet up, and also debarked all of them.
Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's on the damage assessment toolkit. It's like an entire forest that's right there.
Yeah. We flew over this area also yesterday, and you can still see the scar through Big Lake area very easily from that tornado.
Yeah, this was only about a week after the tornado right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we turned around and almost got stuck. So it took a while, and then we went back and
And there's our barbecue spot there. That's called Big Butts Barbecue. That
Yep.
restaurant that was damaged. It was funny. We were doing the coverage on that, and of course, everybody from Leachville knows where that is, and even the surrounding area. But we were saying on television, we're like, okay, some of you are gonna laugh about this, but it's called Big Butts Barbecue got hit.
yeah. So yep, there it is.
Yeah. They had the steel beams, the anchors were pulled out of the concrete, and it was devastating.
Yeah.
And the same thing about
Trees
the
are there,
storm was
too.
it dropped 2 long track tornadoes.
I believe I also have video from Caruthersville. Is this the one for Caruthersville? Yep.
Yeah.
We couldn't go down. We couldn't go down farther when the road was closed.
Yeah. It kind of split between Hayti and Caruthersville from getting, into too populated of an area, which Caruthersville was also hit by that other tornado I told you about in 2006. The Marmaduke tornado came through, and then it eventually came through and hit Caruthersville. There's some pretty wild video if you search it sometime on, I believe it's the high school getting hit in Caruthersville.
Ooh.
Security camera. Yeah.
Yeah, we went up the whole path. I mean, so this is this Tennessee or is this? This is Tiptonville right here.
I was gonna say, it kind of looks like Tennessee. Start getting
Yes.
into more trees and more greenery, and
Yeah, that's Tiptonville.
it wasn't too far from this. Yeah, look at that. Wasn't too far from this where it starts pulling up, right?
Yeah, it wasn't too far. This is the video.
Well, probably after it hit Reelfoot Lake.
Yeah, this is the lake right before where it lifted. Shut up, I don't care about snap trees. My commentary annoys me now because I could have gotten quiet commentary and then I ruined it.
Yeah, that is some significant vegetation damage. Yeah, I had not seen that. I had not gone up in that area. That's right at Reelfoot Lake, right?
Yep, that's Reelfoot Lake. That's the dock right there.
So they had fatalities there. That's also the place where there was someone missing for a day or two.
Yeah. They found him dead in the lake.
Yeah, in the lake.
Yep, so that was our adventure for like a while.
Mm.
We went up there, helped out as much as we could.
Yeah, devastating storm.
And not focused. And then Bremen, where there was nothing. So yeah.
Mm.
So yeah. Enough
Yeah, we
about
don't need
me.
anything like that anytime soon again.
Yeah, hopefully there's not. Yeah, enough about my story. You go
Yeah, it's
ahead.
been busy. It's
Yeah. So, one last question. What is the most unexpected tornado or storm system that you've seen?
I got I got a doozy of a story. It wasn't a huge storm at all. In fact, I don't even remember the date of it. If I thought for a while, I would. But we had a storm years ago. Blew up south of Jonesboro right at 3:30. Now, this was right when weather services were getting into NWS chat, and um, all of your emergency managers weren't even, they didn't even know what it was yet, really. So you didn't have that great communication that we have now. Well, the storm blows up, and it's, just looking at radar, it's putting down some hail. And typically, we wouldn't go wall to wall for severe thunderstorms warnings, but because this was happening right when school was getting out, I decided to do wall to wall coverage. It happened too often with severe thunderstorm warnings, but we did. And the environment wasn't exactly conducive for tornadoes. Definitely hail threat was our big thing. And so severe thunderstorm warnings out, large hail, we have 3 body scatter spike, everything. Everything's pointing to hail, hail, hail. And I'm covering the hail, and then we get a phone call into the newsroom. It says tornado sirens are going off. And I said, that's interesting. And they, write me notes, tornado sirens going off. I look at velocity, I don't see anything. And so I said, I made the comment, I guessed. I said I guessed also. I said, well, maybe they are blowing the sirens because kids are getting out of school and there's really large hail. That's just a bad storm. What I didn't know was that a police officer at the time, he was just a police officer. He later became police chief, Chad Henson, who's also a weather enthusiast and loves storm chasing, had just spotted a tornado on Highway 1 south of Jonesboro, and it had just touched down. Well, the next scan comes in, and we see a couplet east of Highway 1. And I'm still like, we're seeing a little bit of rotation here. Maybe it's this. By this point, a tornado had already been on the ground for about 5 minutes. And so eventually I got the word that it had been spotted, and we started doing tornado coverage, and it went on back up to around the same spot that this one, the Monette Leachville storm started. It went up to Lake City and ended up being an EF2 tornado. And now, from that point on, anytime I hear that a siren is going off, I tell everybody, I don't care if there's not a warning, I don't care what the environment looks like, we're going to treat it like a tornado warning because for some reason, somebody decided to hit the siren. And that night, it happened to be police officer Chad Henson. We had some meetings on that, and made sure everybody was on NWS chat, made sure we're always in constant communication. So if something like that happens again, almost immediately we're all on the same page. But I felt like an idiot. I was like, oh goodness, I said, that's probably there for hail. And there's people to this day that still, don't let me live that one down. Oh, remember that tornado came and you said it was because of hail? And I said, yeah, I admitted it. I, messed up to it and everything. But that was a little bit surprising.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, does Justin have any questions? I believe I got a ping in chat. Is that Justin?
That was Andrew.
That was Andrew. Okay. Justin,
That was-
are you there?
I think he's here.
Am I here? No?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you
Yeah.
can.
Oh,
Oh,
there
Yeah.
you go.
Go ahead.
oh, that's great. Okay, that's really good. So I've got a question that I wanted to ask in the beginning, but now that we can all hear me, that's pretty cool. What exactly, what got you into meteorology in the first place?
Just the love of weather. Um, just the passion of not only just severe weather, which severe weather has kind of become what I love most. I have grown to despise winter kind of. But just love of weather ever since I was a kid. Now it has transitioned a little bit to not only the love of weather, but also just helping people out. You hear teachers and nurses and officers, talking about a rewarding part of your job, of helping people out. It's good to have people say, "Hey, you helped us get through this storm," or "You gave us the information in time to get through this storm." So it's rewarding, also, not just the meteorology of it. And so it's almost like the job continues just to like um, you kind of get fired back up. Unfortunately, from bad weather, to know that, hey, there's a purpose in this job and it's helping people, and we're never going to be able to stop the storm. So hopefully we can do as much as we can to warn people of what's happening.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. That's do we who wants to do we can I don't know. Andrew.
What'd you say, Jackson? You cut out.
I was gonna do the outro. I don't know if Andrew he's kind of been back and forth.
Andrew?
There you go. Andrew, do you want to do that? Me or you want to do the outro? Sure. Well, Ryan, thank you for joining us. I know there's a newscast coming up in about an hour ish. Appreciate you for joining us and answering all these questions. It's kind of for me to watch, back all through those old all the old coverage from all those, storms in northeastern Arkansas. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Good to be here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you later.
Okay.
Well, I got the recording. The audio, I accidentally